What's happening in biology? We are now in Unit 3, and this will be video 2A. This section right here, 7.2, this is going to be broken down into 2 videos because it's quite a long one. It's quite a long one. We're going to talk about all these little teeny tiny parts inside eukaryotic cells. So let's title this Unit 3, Video 2A, Eukaryotic Cells. So we're talking about these big, more complicated cells. We're talking about your cells here and all the little teeny tiny parts that make them up. Take a peek at some of these words really quick. Remember, you don't have to write these, but I do want you to just kind of reflect on them and see which terms have you seen before. You've probably seen quite a few of these in your middle school science classes, and maybe even if you can think all the way back to elementary school. I know it's been a while, but there are several of these that you have probably seen before. So take a peek at them, please. Okay, so let's start with the general definition of an organelle. An organelle, think of it as a little organ. These are small parts inside your eukaryotic cells that each have their own function. Just like organs in your body all have a function, organelles have a function inside cells. And take a peek at this picture right here. You may have seen even this exact picture before. And it shows some of the different organelles that we're going to talk about. Remember, think organelles, little organs. Starting from the outside in, cell membrane is a flexible barrier around the cell. It's what holds your cell together. Now, especially in humans, our cells exist in water. We're made of anywhere between 60 and 75% water, depending on how hydrated we are. And we exist in water. And your membrane, think of your membrane as the oil in the water. It does not dissolve in water. And we will talk a lot more in a lot more detail about the cell membrane when we get to segment 3. But just for right now, you guys need to know it's the flexible barrier around the cell. All cells have a cell membrane. Even prokaryotic cells have a cell membrane. If we didn't have a cell membrane, cells wouldn't be able to hold together in water. And this word right here, semi-permeable. Break that word down, okay? Semi means sometimes. Permeable means to let something in. Semi-permeable means it lets some things in, okay? Some things come in and out, some things do not. Centrioles. These are little teeny tiny organelles that help when the cell divides. We're just going to touch on them really briefly in this unit. We're going to talk about them a lot more in our last unit this semester. They're always located near the nucleus. They're only located in animal cells. When a plant cell has to divide, we don't use these. I think of these like on a fishing rod. You've got the reel on the bottom with that has all the fishing line in it, and you reel that in when you're reeling your fish in when you catch a big one. The centriole is kind of like that. What it does is it latches on to parts of the nucleus and starts to pull them apart when we are dividing a cell. In some of your pictures, they're going to look like little tic-tacs right next to the nucleus. This is a much more detailed picture of them. You can see this is one centriole, and then this back here is another centriole, and we use them to help divide animal cells. Now your nucleus, the boss of the cell, the control center of the cell. This contains your DNA. This is where we make ribosomes. This is where all the magic happens. Think if the school were a cell. I'm going to use this analogy throughout the whole video. If the school were a cell, where's the sort of main hub of the school where all the information is kept? Think of it as the main office, okay? So if the school were a cell, the nucleus is like the main office right up by the front doors, okay? That's where all the major information is. I'm sorry, this is the nucleus. I circled the whole cell. This is where all the magic happens, you guys. This is what controls everything that goes on within the cell. The nucleus is the boss of the cell. And then inside the nucleus, we have a little thing called a nucleolus. Nucleolus is smaller than the nucleus. And inside the nucleus, this makes ribosomes. Now, ribosomes make everything happen within the cell. So you can think of the nucleus as the boss of the cell. The nucleolus is the boss of the nucleus. So technically, the nucleolus is kind of the boss of everything. So if the school were a cell, then the nucleolus is probably our principal, okay, Mr. French. The nucleolus makes our ribosomes, you guys, and then the ribosomes help to make proteins, and proteins are what helps to guide everything that goes on within the cell. This is a picture of, this is the nucleus right here. And then inside we have the nucleolus, chromatin. This is your DNA inside the cell. And then this is another organelle we're going to talk about later called endoplasmic reticulum. Also on the outside of the nucleus, we have a thing called a nuclear envelope. It's like a cell membrane, but for a nucleus. All right. Oh, and there's nuclear membrane or envelope. They mean the same thing. They are synonyms for each other. So it's the membrane that holds your nucleus together. And it looks kind of like a little golf ball. It's got all these little pores or openings in it that let information, DNA, ribosome, well, not DNA, it's called RNA, it's going to come out. Let materials come in and out of the nucleus as they need to. Okay, so we've got nucleolus here, cell membrane or envelope on the outside, holding the nucleus together, and the nuclear pores are the holes that allow information in and out of the nucleus. So if the school is a cell, nucleolus is Mr. French, nucleus is the main office. What's the thing that sort of holds the main office together? Think of it as like the outer walls or the doors to the main office. Okay, that would be the nuclear membrane or envelope. Chromosomes, yay! So here we're getting into more detail into your genetic information. Inside your nucleus is your DNA, guys. It's all the genetic information that makes you. It's the blueprint for you. And you guys will see right here, this is our nucleus. Your chromosomes in this picture, this nucleus look like little X's. And we will talk a lot more in second semester about what those little X's mean. But those are your genetic information. Those are your pairs of chromosomes. And it's all the information that makes you who you are. We don't use them, all of them all the time. They're in every single one of your cells, all the blueprints for everything. But we use them to make specific proteins when we need to make specific proteins. So that's why we house all the information here, and then little bits of information go through the nuclear envelope out into the cell, and then we use the information when we need it. Now, smaller than chromosomes is chromatin. Think of it like a ball of yarn. A ball of yarn, you guys, you have all of this, think of the string as your genetic information. So you have all of this information and it's all wrapped up into this teeny tiny little package. Excuse me. That's what chromatin is. Chromatin's almost like a roll of toilet paper. So in the inside we have the toilet paper roll and all the, if you had a roll of toilet paper that had a whole bunch of information written on it in like 5-point font, and then it's all wrapped up into this really, really tight little ball. That's kind of what chromatin is. Chromatin is the actual toilet paper itself, wrapped all around. And we do that because it has to be a little teeny tiny package to fit inside the nucleus. Okay. So going back to if our school is a cell, if our school is a cell, chromosomes, your genetic information, this is probably the file cabinets that contain all the student information in the main office. Remember, we're still in the nucleus, so we're still in the main office. So the chromosome is probably the file cabinets that contain it, and the chromatin is smaller than that. So what's inside the file cabinets, it would be like the files. And the chromatin is the stuff that's wrapped all around really tight. Think of it, remember the toilet paper on the toilet paper roll. We'll talk more in detail about that later, I promise. All right, now, the whole point of a cell is proteins. Okay, the whole point of a cell is proteins, and ribosomes are the thing that makes proteins. Ribosomes are made inside the nucleolus, and then they're shipped out of the nucleolus into the cell, and then their whole job is to make proteins. And you guys know proteins control what happens in the cell. They help to build and break down materials. There's lots of things going on with ribosomes. So if the school is a cell, and what does a school create? What's the whole point of a school? It's to create learning, right? The whole point of a cell is to create proteins. So who puts out that learning? It's you guys. You guys are the ribosomes, okay? So students, you guys are the ribosomes. You are the ones who have the biggest job in the school. Ribosomes have the biggest job within the cell. So their job is to assemble proteins, and then from there they can do any number of things within our cell. This is showing you guys, this is a thing that we're going to get to next called the endoplasmic reticulum, and it's going to process some of our proteins. So you can see the proteins go from nucleus out into the cell. All right, cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is everything between the nuclear membrane and the cell membrane. It includes all the sort of goo or liquid that everything is floating around in. And your cytoplasm also contains all of your organelles. It's a really important part of a cell. If we didn't have cytoplasm, our cell couldn't support itself. There's other things as well that are going to support our cells later on. But our cytoplasm is how our organelles move. It has to have some type of liquid to float around in, and that's what cytoplasm provides us. So cytoplasm is everything between nuclear membrane, cell membrane. Think of the cytoplasm as all the floor inside the school. It's how we travel. If we didn't have a flat floor to travel around in, it would be really difficult for us to get places. So think of it as all the like open space within the school, I guess. Think of it as the floor, all the open space between the floor and the ceiling, and from wall to wall. It's the open space that you guys, as my little ribosomes, my students, it's all the open space that you travel in. And next, endoplasmic reticulum. This is what happens first right after the nucleus. Okay, now there's two of them. When a ribosome comes out of the nucleus, it first will travel through the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Rough, think ribosomes. You can see little teeny tiny dots here. And the rough endoplasmic reticulum, its job is to help to process proteins and tell it where to go. And then smooth endoplasmic reticulum helps to make lipids. Endoplasmic reticulum is how ribosomes travel. So if the school is a cell and you are the ribosome, you travel through the hallways, right? So think of the ER, the endoplasmic reticulum, as the hallways. And remember, you have rough ER. This one has ribosomes, helps to process proteins. Smooth does not have ribosomes, helps to process lipids. Okay, one more, last one. Now, Golgi body helps to tell our proteins where to go. Remember, you guys are my ribosomes, and you are the ones who are making proteins. So the Golgi body helps to tell the ribosomes where they send their proteins. So it packages and ships proteins to their destination. This is the UPS man of the cell, or woman. And it's usually linked to the endoplasmic reticulum. So the rough ER sends ribosomes out to the Golgi body. Golgi body figures out where they need to go. So think about when you first come to the school, who are the people who figure out where you're going to go and how you're going to get there? The counselors, right? So think of the Golgi body. If the school is a cell, the Golgi body is the one who tells the ribosomes where to put their proteins. And so just like the counselor is the person who tells the students what they can do with their learning. Okay. All right, this was a long one, you guys. This is the end of video 2A. We'll do 2B later. Good job.